Welcome to my webinar. This presentation is the beginning of a series of webinar pertaining to visions at OceanQuest Global about the progressive future in coral conservation. Besides the webinar, we are also scheduled to present our vision and work at ADEX Sabah 2023 and ADEX Singapore 2024. So without further ado, we're gonna go and start the presentation. So before we start, I need to introduce myself. We're gonna play the video about the speaker's biography and the second video about OceanQuest Global.
Dr. Anwar Abdullah is the founder of OceanQuest Global. He started his journey in coral conservation in 1981. This is built on personal interest as a diver and grown into a lifetime passion, starting with mapping of dive sites and documenting what types of corals thrives there. Witness the first post-monsoon devastation in the same year and begin to research on how to save the reefs. In 2004, he invented and patented the coral catalyst that is used extensively in coral propagation at OceanQuest Global. The catalyst is the key to a fully organic coral propagation system. Founded OceanQuest Malaysia as a social enterprise, a platform to drive the conservation to larger scale. Written the first guide to coral propagation manual that is used as training material. In 2013, Asian Dive Expo ADEX in Singapore appointed him as their coral reef ambassador. The position is held until today. In the same year, Dr. Anwar introduced the coral propagation system for Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, that they called the Sea Shepherd Dive Campaign. The campaign lasted 5 years from 2013 until 2018 with big success. OceanQuest Asia is founded and the coral propagation program expanded to Brunei and the Philippines. In 2018 begins the collaboration with the Thailand's Marine National Park Operations Center 3. He is also responsible for the rehabilitation of the famous Maya Bay. The rehabilitation of Maya Bay begins in 2018 and it is completed in 2022. A 4-year technological transfer from OceanQuest Global to the Marine National Park Operation Center 3 Trang. He also introduces the coral propagation system in Indonesia. Simultaneously, he started conservation projects in Mergui Archipelago, Myanmar. Introduces coral propagation in Maldives. OceanQuest Global is formed a year earlier. The first ghost net removal protocol is introduced. The conservation initiatives of OceanQuest Global expands into a holistic conservation body. This includes mangroves, seagrass and forestry. During the pandemic, research and development of the education system continues. Research on tech-based coral conservation is also introduced along with development of new strategy. The field training instructor course is also introduced by the founder in 2022. Recently, Dr. Anwar also expands his reach into blue economy and sustainability project in the coast of Arabian Sea through a partner Gabritech and OceanQuest Egypt. He is the first to establish coral nursery in subtropical Red Sea. OceanQuest Global now have 2,569 trainers and more than 26,000 trained volunteers at their disposal worldwide, the number which is constantly growing. This concludes Dr. Anwar's 43 years of commitment to the ocean and the coral reefs.
OceanQuest is an organization built upon the need for coral reef rehabilitation through research, education and direct action. The organization sets standards and benchmark policies that has been accepted in many countries worldwide. Through research, OceanQuest created its own techniques, methodology and material for coral reef rehabilitation. The Ocean Quest education system is a simplified learning system that allows the public to take part in coral rehabilitation. By engaging the community in the effort, Ocean Quest can achieve its goal in broad-scale coral rehabilitation. Advocacy and awareness are also integrated in the education system. The most visible role of Ocean Quest in coral conservation is its ability to take direct action without delay. This is achieved through funding that is directly generated from the Ocean Quest education. All locations where Ocean Quest existed must continue to maintain and expand training of visitors and local communities. This demands an ever-progressing research and education, which is for the cause of fulfilling environmental conservation and the well-being of the local community around the area. Reaching measurable achievement means Ocean Quest must have high degree of knowledge and expertise in development of its scientific, social, educational and environment. These can only be a reality when Ocean Quest are supported by trainers and researchers who are dedicated and committed to the direction of this organization. The organization's achievements is measured through its accomplishments in broad-scale coral reef rehabilitation. As an organization, Ocean Quest are partners with many leading organizations around the world that is actively involved in marine conservation. These partners supports and helps spread the Ocean Quest system to the world. Besides partnerships, Ocean Quest also is founded on a solid strategy based on an ever-expanding approach. Core values. At Ocean Quest Global, our core values is the definition of our conduct as an environmental conservation organization. This is the values we strongly adhere to, and it is our path to follow in every aspect of our engagements. By setting and defining our core values, every action taken by Ocean Quest is defined and deliberate. We have no guesswork, we will not work in uncertainty, and we thrives on set goals and direct action. Here, we define our values in our commitments, our attitude and our protocols, which is the directions we will take in everything we do to achieve a measurable accomplishment. Our commitment. Our commitment to the marine environment and to the people that are dependent on the ocean. For this reason, all action taken to preserve and protect the marine environment as well as our relation with the community must be fully defined. Marine conservation is a responsibility of humanity to preserve and manage the ocean's resources. Therefore, if we truly want to accomplish this goal, we must be accountable, and we must be responsible. This commitment includes taking the right step and avoiding our impact to the fragile environment. It means that every step taken to restore and preserve the marine environment must be thoroughly studied, so that we did not create more damage to the ocean in the name of conservation. Ocean Quest also understand the needs and dependency of humanity on the ocean resources. There is no exclusion of the human factor in the conservation of the ocean. For this reason, the human stewardship of the ocean and its capacity to protect this resource are for the benefit of their own future. Conservation is meant for managing our interactions to prevent damage and devastation. Our attitude. Our attitude is driven by the need to be fully neutral and independent in voicing our concern about what is right and what is wrong. This full democratic attitude is necessary to prevent ourselves from becoming part of a conservation society that is abusive. Here is an example. Coral conservation is largely perceived as an act of creating something on the seafloor. Environmental conservation and rehabilitation is never achieved through construction of structures, as no man-made structures are habitable to wildlife. Example, People will not want to place broken vehicles and man-made objects in a devastated forest as part of a forest restoration project. The idea of placing junk materials as forest restoration will be perceived as total absurdity. This is simply because those objects are not habitable to the wildlife there. However, the same act of absurdity is freely practiced as part of reef restoration. Junk school buses, trucks, cars, bicycles, broken toilets can all be found on the ocean floor as artificial reefs. There are even those that goes great length of constructing structures on the seafloor. These structures are then used as substrates to grow corals. Corals are also used to decorate junk structures in the name of coral restoration. Corals are living things. They are not ornamental objects that we can simply pluck from the ocean and planted on structures that is totally aliens to them. Over 90% of the practice of creating artificial reefs failed and is left on the seafloor. There is no recovery plans for these structures. Instead, they are left to degrade on the seafloor. Plastic materials like PVC used will degrade, leaching the ocean with toxins such as bisphenol A, BPA, and phthalates. These toxins are known hormone disruptors that can cause health problems in marine organisms and in humans. It imposes serious long-term impact to the environment, but yet it is widely used in coral conservation projects. This actions of using plastic-based artificial structures in ocean conservation is no different from the pollutants we already faced worldwide. Sadly, they can be found in almost every locations where conservation takes place. Ocean Quest considers this practice as abusive conservation. Therefore, our ethical standards rejects the use of artificial reef and man-made structures with absolute effect. By exploring and researching organic ways of coral propagation, we eliminate input of more marine debris. Our protocols. The Ocean Quest standards and policy on all conservation practices is well defined. Abusive practices is fully eliminated and prohibited in the Ocean Quest protocol. Every step of its coral reef rehabilitation process is designed to minimize if not eliminate stresses to the ocean environment. Criteria for coral collection and extraction is fully defined, to prevent people from touching and extracting coral from healthy colonies. Only small, broken fragments of living corals are collected from the seafloor for propagation. Other criteria such as coral disease, human development threats and natural disasters may be considered. Collecting corals from healthy colonies is invasive and abusive, and it must not be allowed. Ocean Quest Global sees the need for controlling marine conservation activities, as there are many that exploits it for their own profits. Our measurable accomplishments. The Ocean Quest measurable accomplishments is seen in its acceptance worldwide. Many locations in Southeast Asia, Indian Ocean, Red Sea and in the Gulf of Mexico are now engaging and adopting the use of the Ocean Quest system. This is simply because the system is non-abusive, effective and broad-scaled. Ocean Quest set aside its proprietary to the knowledge to enable this coral conservation system to be universally available. It is the driving force behind the accomplishment. There is one aspect that truly supports the Ocean Quest system that make them successful. This is public trust. People from around the world believe in our system and practice our system. It is a realistic system that is usable by all levels of the society for education, research and conservation. The accomplishment is not complete without proven results. This can be seen in all the established locations worldwide. Our advancement. The advancements of technology have been harnessed by almost every sector of conservation, except in coral conservation. As much as the glimmering discipline of marine biology, it is still a primitive science that till this day employs of the most unreliable methods. Data acquisition in this field still remained at the level of a line, a pencil and a slate, relying mainly on human observations, which is highly prone to error. Yet, the world is diligently following and believing the information obtained from it. Ocean Quest is committed in improving this system for the world to have better knowledge and understanding of the coral reef through harnessing newer technology. Finally, the Ocean Quest Sea Shepherd Dive strategy consists of these 5 arms. Development of newer and more effective technology. Empowerment of the community, and encouraging volunteerism. Employing a truly organic approach in coral propagation. Providing training and education on coral restoration worldwide. Providing the technical support to all the locations. Only by this approach, that a global-scale restoration can take place.
Webinar, we have just concluded the introduction of our organization and also myself. So we go on to describe the purpose of this webinar. The title is Coral Conservation, Stepping into a Progressive Future. Before we go to the future, most of us need to learn about what is going on. And a lot of audience, my audience, they are new to coral conservation. Therefore, I have to step back, many steps back. I have to take many steps back to help them understand what coral conservation is all about before I can continue. So, purpose. Okay, the purpose of this topic, stepping into the progressive future in coral conservation. To share this vision, we must present it in stages. The topic is too broad to be presented in one webinar. Okay, so that means there are a lot more webinars coming in this month and next month. Key aspect found here is coherent to the global direction of Sustainable Development Goals. Why? Because that is what we want in the future. We want sustainable development. Progressively, conservation of coral and coral reef will move in the same direction. So this is the purpose of this webinar. There's a lot of people who did not mute their mic. I allow them to open their mic, but because they might want to ask questions later on. But it seems like it's quite difficult. So we're talking and talking and talking. What is it for you? What is the benefit to our audience? What is the benefit to you? To me, I'm the speaker. I'm trying to describe what the future, the progressive future is all about in coral conservation. But then the audience that I'm talking to, you are different levels. Some of you don't even know what coral is. Some are even marine biologists. Some are scuba instructors who always look at corals and maybe know something about corals. So all these different levels, we need to define what is it, what kind of benefit we provide to you, okay? So the benefit to our audience includes, okay, if you are an individual, maybe you are a diver, a non-diver, a student, a teacher, any person as an individual, what kind of benefit will this webinar bring to you, okay? This webinar will help you develop the steps that you need to be able to participate or anticipate or take part in any coral conservation in the future. Or if you are already in there, it's going to improve your understanding of what coral conservation is all about. So as a person who say did not know anything about corals, then it's time to develop knowledge and understanding. That's your first step you must take. The second is identify potential. Identify potential means in conservation, there are many sectors and categories and all these departments or types of conservation. It can be just awareness building. Awareness building does not need even you to be a diver. You don't even need to be a swimmer. If you want to do an awareness program, you just study what coral is and how destruction it is, and then from your knowledge, you help teach others about it. Okay. Identify potential can be also, if you are a diver and you want to be part of coral conservation, then your potential can be a coral reef rehabilitation program that you want to join. What is potential and what fits you? Yeah. And then once you find what fits you, you go to the skill development. You find out who are the people that can provide the skills that you need to develop, to use what you want, to take action, to be part of the team, to play the role. And then once you get to take action, you did not become a hero yet. What you can do, you can share the experience, right? As an individual, we all are eco-heroes. If we take step in collecting one piece of garbage from the street, we are already eco-hero. Okay, we don't have to go through all this, but this is when you want to get into something like coral conservation. This is the step as an individual you need to take. First, develop knowledge and understanding. For my advice to you, don't follow blindly. Don't go to a place where people say they are doing some coral things, whatever. Don't follow blindly without developing at least some knowledge about corals. And then identify potential, develop your skills, and take action. Then for the businesses, for the enterprise, what will this webinar do for you? We are going to identify potentials. Identify potential means if you are a dive shop, you are a resort owner, you are a dive travel agent, you are a taxi driver for that care, that means you are part of the industry. What does the coral reef do for you? Meaning that because of the coral reef, people from Europe, from Americas, from the non-tropical countries travel, spending thousands of dollars to your location. Why? Because of you? No, because of the environment, because of the coral reef. So the potential of the coral reef to bring profit to the enterprise. This is what we're talking about, the environmental services provided by the coral reef. Now you know the potential that it brings to you. You have to understand what is threatening them, what is going to destroy them. Is it mass tourism? Is it pollution? Is it damage by dynamite fishing? Is it overfishing? Is it a thing that people use? Even in some countries, people harvest coral to make buildings, you know? So what are the threats to these potentials that you have? The potential of your enterprise to grow will deplete if the threats is not taken care of. So it has to be balanced between threats and potential. How to do it? You have to anticipate. To anticipate threats and to increase potential to reduce threats for your benefit, You have to anticipate in a way that is correct. In some countries in Southeast Asia, for example, a lot of corporations, a lot of enterprise, they said, oh, once a year, we go do some coral planting. They go and do some coral planting once a year, and then they left. They feel good about it because they are in the newspaper. Will that actually help to protect the potentials and eliminate threats? No, that is just a press release, a drive to create publicity. As an enterprise that is dependent on the coral reef environment, you have to be proactive. You anticipate by partnering with organizations and experts that can provide you with advice and action that can protect your potential and reduce your threats. Okay, this is how you do it. Once you can anticipate, you can balance between potential and threats. What does it mean? It means it's sustainable for you. You can go year after year after year. Your business can continue without depleting. Do you think if your environment, say wherever you are in Red Sea or in India or anywhere, you cannot sustain unless you anticipate? Okay, so we are running out of time. We have to go faster. So for conservation bodies, we have a lot of partnering, networking, and affiliation. That way we can expand. By a single organization, we cannot expand. We'll talk about it in the next coming webinar. For institution, it's also best to have a reciprocal, like working together with organization like us, doing research development, and to accomplish something. A lot of institution that produces marine science students, for example, they have not accomplished anything in reality. They have accomplished in making as many students as they can, but there is no development that they can be proud of or accomplish. The only way they can accomplish in that is through partnering with us. Okay, cut short. So now we are going forward to see what is coming next, because the time, what's the time now? Yeah, we have about 15 minutes left. So in the coming days, starting from 9th of July, I will be talking one by one topic. If you really want to learn about coral conservation, then we start on the 9th of July at 8 p.m. same time. We will start with the first topic, just about the webinars that we have. The moderator here is Elsie Gabriel, who is going to moderate on that one. And then right an hour after that, on the at 9 o'clock on the 9th, we will start with Introduction to Coral Conservation. That is where you learn what exactly coral conservation is all about, all the branches, the sectors, and all these things. Then on 11th of July, we will be talking about disciplines and pathway, which direction you should go. If you are a researcher, which direction you should go. If you are a conservationist, which direction you should go. If you are scuba instructors, which direction you should go to find your way to do coral conservation. Coral conservation is not for professors and marine biologists, okay? I'm going to correct that in that part as well. Then we move on to ocean advocacy. Ocean advocacy is people who advocate, maybe connecting an enterprise with an organization to help do something about the coral, or to create awareness drive, coral reef awareness program. That's advocacy. That's on 15. I believe that's on 15 of of, let me see. Yeah, that's 15th of July. Yeah, that's 15th of July. That's advocacy. So we will talk about science of coral, skills development, and public relations in coral conservation. Then sustainability in coral conservation on 2nd of August. Okay, between 15th of July and 2nd of August, I will be away. I will be in the ocean. So I will not be around, so I won't be talking. So 2nd of August, I'll be back. And the moderator in this presentation is Divya Rao. She lives in Hong Kong, and she is part of the Ocean Quest team as well. Yeah, so it will be same time, yeah. I hope the timing is good for you. It's not too late, it's not too early. Then we move on to technology. That one, we are talking about technology on the 10th of August. So technology-based coral conservation. If we look at coral conservation today, it's pretty sad because everywhere we go, people are saying, oh, that's the job of the marine biologists. And the marine biologists came with a scuba gear, which is half damaged maybe, or maybe already been used for 10 years and never been serviced. And then he pull a line along the reef and then he do his survey. So a line, a pencil, and a slate, that's the technology they have, right? So we need to up that technology a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna go up that technology line on August 10th. Finally, on August 14th, we will have the future, basically the holistic approach of coral conservation. I'll be talking about how it's related to whatever we do on land that affect the coral conservation, the coral reef. We are talking about the approach. I'll give you example and how to adopt technology and sustainability into coral conservation. Then after 14, it will be ADEX Sabah on, I think it's on this 8th. I will be speaking on stage at the conference at ADEX. So that concludes the content of what you are listening today. Is just the beginning of it. And I have 9 minutes. I'm open for questions. If you like, you can unmute your mic and ask me questions. I would like to answer some questions before we wrap up this part of the webinar, before we move on to the rest of it, okay? So let's go back to, yeah. Okay. So are there any questions? Anybody wants to ask me any question? Or would you like me to elaborate a little bit about the subjects that I'm talking about? Then I will go on to wow. Am I talking too fast that you have no question to ask? Or okay, let's go back to the beginning.